What drives a man to run for higher office? Is it a sense of duty, personal ambition, or something else? Board of Supervisors candidate Dan Sloan was born in Redding, California, but he would spend his formative years in Concord, about 30 miles east of San Francisco. Sloan later returned to Redding and attended Enterprise High School. After graduation, Sloan worked as a sales manager for a moving and storage company along with his future wife, Carol. The two would marry in 1985. The couple then started their first business, a moving and packing company. In 1995, Sloan went back to school, earning his MBA from Golden Gate University, a private college in San Francisco that offered night classes. Sloan then took a part-time position as an adjunct professor at Shasta College. Unable to secure a permanent role, Sloan agreed to take a non-academic position as a pollution prevention coordinator. Sloan alleges the original terms of the 6-month arrangement were to be paid in one lump sum, but later he was told that he had to submit time cards and would be paid by the hour. This was unacceptable to Sloan, who sued the college, though the college contended that if he had turned in his time cards he would have been paid. Sloan would ultimately file 3 lawsuits against Shasta College and lose each one, likely spending more money fighting the cases than was originally owed him. He then sued his attorneys from the Shasta College case for unlimited professional negligence. His lawyers, in return, sued him. Sloan has been involved in many lawsuits. All told, Sloan is a named party in at least 15 court cases. Around this time, Sloan's business and financial situation began to deteriorate. In 2005, Sloan was sued by Wells Fargo for not paying the mortgage on one of his business properties. Sloan would ask his parents for a $137,000 loan to get him out of this financial hole. In 2008, his marriage also took a turn for the worse. Growing increasingly paranoid over his multiple lawsuits and failing financial situation, he suspected his wife Carol of infidelity. In January, Sloan was arrested after stalking Carol outside a local restaurant and then causing a disturbance inside. A year later, Sloan choked his wife until she couldn't breathe. In another incident, he pushed Carol to the ground and banged her head repeatedly against the carpet. He was later arrested. On January 29th, Carol's request for a temporary restraining order against Sloan was granted. In that request, Carol described a number of abusive behaviors. Sloan would wake her in the middle of the night with an air horn to question her. He also secretly removed a used tampon from the trash and took it to a lab to be tested. On April 2, 2009, Sloan was pulled over at 1 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon on suspicion of a DUI. He then fled the scene and was arrested soon afterwards, according to a statement by CHP officer Kurt Hoyer that was reported in the Record Searchlight the next day. Carol filed for divorce on August 27th and was granted a second restraining order against Sloan. After his divorce was finalized and the last of his businesses closed, Sloan changed careers. He began working overseas with the U.S. Department of State and a number of affiliated international organizations including ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. He spent the next decade in Asia, mostly in China, including the city of Wuhan. Sloan asserted on a radio interview that the Chinese government paid for his plane ticket and that he worked with Barack Obama's Secretary of State, John Kerry. Though the full scope of Sloan's work overseas is unclear, it appears his main role was teaching English to foreign students. In 2015, he published an article in the Chinese journal English Language Learning, where he identified himself as an English Language Fellow of the U.S. Department of State. In later statements, he only gives his title as Fellow to give the impression he was a high-level diplomat. This is a lifelong pattern of Sloan's, taking a small truth and then exaggerating it to increase his prestige. Sloan's globalist tendencies run deep. His 2017 PhD dissertation is titled Trends Toward Globalizing the Renminbi, which is the official currency of China. In his dedication, he thanks the People's Republic of China. Sloan returned to Redding 5 years ago and is currently the chair of the local Republican Central Committee, where he has been known to act outside his authority, as he did when he invited Rand Paul to Redding without bringing it to the RCC first. If elected, he will take his orders from the RNC. Sloan is a climber who likes to network with conservative celebrities and exaggerate his influence. Sloan also does not respect boundaries. He includes photographs of prominent patriots on his campaign Facebook page to make people think that he has their endorsement, when they do not endorse him and have asked him to take their pictures down, a request that he has ignored. In public, he can appear to be charming and affable, but behind closed doors and when he is not in control, Sloan can become enraged and abusive, as he was with his ex-wife. Sloan is also a narcissist who will turn every interaction he has into an opportunity to recite his resume. Sloan has said in many interviews that he could have run for higher office anywhere. Clearly, the Board of Supervisors is just a stepping stone to Sacramento or DC. He cannot be allowed to take that first step.